This idea of nothingness, of oblivion, of a dark abyss, of a kind of positive absence, of an endless deprivation of experience, is misleading if we're simply talking about the end of experience. You didn't experience your absence before you were born. And if death is truly the end of experience, you won't experience your absence after you die. So this reification of death as eternal nothingness is fundamentally misleading. Clark suggests, quote, "Instead of anticipating nothingness at death, I propose that we should anticipate the subjective sense of always having been present, experienced within a different context, the context provided by those subjectivities which exist or come into being." End quote. Just imagine if we changed you moment by moment. If we changed each one of your memories and every other personal attribute, one at a time, every second, for the rest of the day. Let's say you don't currently like radishes, but in 14 minutes you will. Let's say you currently remember that you had cereal for breakfast today, but in about an hour you'll recall that you had eggs this morning. At what point in this process of change would we have to say that you had died, and that this new person's experience is no longer subjectively continuous with yours? Is there such a point? Why would there be? There's been no cessation of consciousness. It's just that the context of consciousness has gradually changed. Now, would death come any nearer to you if we started changing your cells? Perhaps by swapping in cells that harbor the DNA of another person? Imagine that consciousness is maintained through this process. Is there a point at which death is real? So sit with that for a second, and now we can leap to the truly strange inference. How are such manipulations any different than what happens when one person dies and another person is born? In this case, too, there's no end to experience from the point of view of consciousness for the first person. Nor does this second person who's born experience a prior period of never having existed before. There's just the subjective continuity of consciousness, as and for itself, in either case. And it's intrinsically impersonal. Clark writes, quote, "This thesis implies that even if all centers of awareness were extinguished, and the next conscious creature appeared millions of years hence, perhaps in a galaxy far, far away, there would still be no subjective interregnum. Just as easily as it jumps the gap from our last experience before sleep to the first upon awakening, subjectivity would jump that objective gap. All the boring eons that pass without the existence of a subject will be irrelevant for the subject that comes into being, nor will they count as nothingness for all the conscious entities which cease to exist. Subjectivity, awareness, consciousness, experience, whatever we call it, never stops arising as far as it is concerned. I believe a materialist can see that consciousness, as a strictly physical phenomenon instantiated by the brain, creates a world subjectively immune to its own disappearance. It is the very finitude of a self-reflective cognitive system that bars it from witnessing its own beginning or ending, and hence prevents there being, for it, any condition other than existing. Its ending is only an event, and its non-existence a current fact for other perspectives. After death, we won't experience non-being. We won't, quote, fade to black. So when I recommend that you look forward to the continuing sense of always having been here, construe that you not as a particular person, but as that condition of awareness, which although manifesting itself in finite subjectivities, nevertheless always finds itself present. We continue as the generic subjectivity that always finds itself here, in the various contexts of awareness that the physical universe manages to create." End quote.